Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Dave and today we'll be taking a quick look at the iPhone 3G from 2008. This iPhone was released just 1 year after the first iPhone, which I have right here. Now, even though these two phones look very different, not much has changed on the inside. Think of this as an S upgrade, even though the actual S upgrade would only come next year with the 3GS. Oh, and if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing as it helps out enormously, as only 2% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed. Thank you so much. So back to the iPhone 3G, what was different between this and the original iPhone? Well, first of all, Apple moved to a plastic build from aluminum, making the iPhone much cheaper to produce, but also to sell, as it went down from $499 on a typical 2-year US contract to just $199. It also removed the recessed headphone jack, replacing it with a regular one, as you can see right here. This meant that you can use any headphones that you wanted with the iPhone. And this was a very welcome change, as many users complained that on the first iPhone, a recessed headphone jack meant that you could only use Apple's own headphones, or a very limited number of headphones that had a deep and thin enough headphone jack, as it had to fit in this recess right here. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera. It also added GPS and A2DP, or Bluetooth music streaming support, something that again was missing on the first iPhone, even though both phones had Bluetooth version 2.0. Now, of course, this doesn't mean it had Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that. No, you still had to add music via iTunes on your computer, but now you could stream it directly to your headphones, well, Bluetooth headphones, or say a Bluetooth speaker, or directly to your car, if your car had Bluetooth back in 2008. Battery life was also improved, going from 8 hours of talk time to 10 hours when using 2G, but it actually dropped down to only 5 hours when using 3G to make calls. Which brings us to the biggest upgrade, and that's 3G speeds. Now, this was much needed, as 2G, or Edge, was extremely slow on the first iPhone. Now, they're both just as fast if you use them on Wi-Fi, but if you use them on cellular, the 2G was so much slower. But yeah, to be honest, that was about it. Everything else stayed the same, and this includes the camera, the display, the processor, which was exactly the same, a 412 MHz Samsung CPU paired with 128 MB of RAM. Now, oddly enough, even though these phones both had the same CPU, they actually supported different OSs, as the original iPhone only went up to iOS 3, while the iPhone 3G went up to iOS 4. And let's take a look at the UI of these two phones. And starting off with the settings, and yeah, you can see that there's literally nothing different. They have the same settings pages, everything is pretty much the same because these two phones had the same functionality. And performance is also the same. Let's quickly open the, calculator app. And yeah, it's just as fast. Let's open, messages. Yep, exactly the same. Let's open the calendar. It was actually faster on the 3G. Let's open maps. Yeah, it was faster on the original iPhone. I keep having to check which one is which. Let's open stocks. Faster on the iPhone 2G. Yeah, you can definitely see that these two are very similar. Let's try voice memos. Yeah, okay. So yeah, exactly the same. I would say that these two are very, very similar when it comes to performance. Let's also open the camera and see which one is faster. Oh, and yeah, again, the 2G was a bit faster. And let's take a photo. They took the photo at the same time. The quality should be exactly the same, and it pretty much is. Let's also open Safari and go to google.com, because this is literally the only page that would open on these. And again, the 2G was a bit faster. Yeah, that's surprising, but yeah, in my testing, these two are very similar. Now, of course, Safari is unusable on both because the only thing that you can load is, as I said, google.com. Now, of course, we cannot Google anything because Safari is just way too old. But again, I'm on Wi-Fi, and if I were to use cellular data, it would actually load much faster on the iPhone 3G. But you can see for yourself, there's actually nothing different or new with the iPhone 3G coming from the original iPhone. And the only thing that I've noticed was folder support. So on the original, if we pick up an app and drag it on top of another one, it just swaps places. It doesn't do anything, right? But on the 3G, if we drag an app on top of another, it actually creates a folder. Now, again, this was one of the few, if not the only, updates that iOS 4 brought. And yeah, even though the iPhone 3G supports iOS 4, while the original iPhone does not support it, iOS 4 only brought a few new features, such as the home screen wallpapers and multitasking, both of which weren't supported on the iPhone 3G. They were only supported on the iPhone 3GS or later. So technically, yeah, even though the iOS version was newer, you weren't missing out on anything. So why am I calling this the true S upgrade and not the 3GS? Well, the 3GS brought so many more upgrades compared to the 3G, such as video recording capabilities, a faster CPU, more RAM, multitasking, AirPlay, a compass, and so much more. I really feel like the 3GS was more of an upgrade over the 3G than the 3G was compared to the 2G, if that makes sense. Oh, and by the way, I'm also planning on taking a dive into the iPhone 3GS and the iPhone 4 later on, which truly revolutionized the iPhone, so make sure you're subscribed in order to see that. But what do you think? Have you used an iPhone 3G yourself back in 2008? Drop a comment down below and let me know. And yeah, as always, this was Dave on Tech, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Cheers!